What is up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. We are back. This is my co-host, Heather C. So Smothered Season 4, Episode 8. So this aired last night, and we found out that Dawn's husband and Cher's dad is retiring. And we know that Dawn is already retired, so this is a big deal. They are both going to be done working in the office. It's a doctor's office, and Dawn has retired first, and now her husband is joining her, and there's going to be a huge retirement party. Now, this is a good, happy moment for the family, but Cher has a secret that she has been keeping from her mom. So they go to Kathy's, and Kathy is the person who creates all of their twinning looks, the dresses, the outfits, everything that they've been wearing. Ever since Cher was tiny, she has been creating these looks. During this time where they're picking up the dresses, Dawn reveals to Kathy what happened with the pool incident with Sherry. And actually, we have a conversation between Dawn and Cher where Cher says that she believes that her mom should apologize to Sherry and Sherry should apologize to her. Now, how do you feel about this? Do you feel like they were both in the wrong? Do you feel like there's something that each of them could have done differently? Or do you think that Sherry had no business pushing her in the pool?
Okay. First thing I stand behind, bottom line, you don't need to put your hands on anybody. So I don't condone her behavior of throwing Dawn in the pool. I will always forever stand by that statement. Do I think that Dawn needs to apologize? Not necessarily to Sherry, more so to maybe Cher and Jared. If to the other people, if she's looking like she's overbearing, then maybe she needs to take a step back and just say, you know what, guys, am I doing something? Am I overstepping? And maybe talk to them one-on-one and apologize to them. I don't really feel like she did anything to Sherry. Dawn is a very happy-go-lucky, very friendly person. I feel like that's just Dawn's way of expressing herself to people. I think that she wanted to have everybody around. I don't feel like in her mind, she necessarily thought that she was doing anything wrong by putting in her 2 cents to her daughter. I actually, quite frankly, agree with her. If something is temporary, why would you encourage them to buy a house if they don't even know that that's the move that they're going to make? So just like she put her 2 cents in, Sherry could put her 2 cents in, and then the end result, Jared and Cher will make their decision because ultimately it's their house. The one thing, it's like, I love Cher to death, but I did not like how she kind of like said it to her mom. She was like, do you see why she threw you in the pool? And I know she didn't mean it like that, but it was how it was said. And I was just like, I was like, don't ever condone that, because it's never like, let me see why this happened. It would have made better sense to be like, okay, mom, so did you see why Sherry had gotten frustrated with you or something like that? Because she should never like justify the fact of what had happened. She should have never ended up in the pool. And Cher did say that. I will give her that. She did say that. She's like, no, she's like, I'm not saying that she should have threw you in a pool because she shouldn't have. But it's like the wording is everything, because you don't ever want your mom to feel like, do you see what you did? This is why she did this. And it's like she's being punished for trying to be a good mom. I think maybe just like her words would have been better to just be like, do you see why she was frustrated with the situation? Do you see why she was mad? Something along the lines of that, instead of saying, do you see why she threw you in the pool? There's no reason why that should have ever happened. And I think that, because like, what if she couldn't swim and she drowned? Like, I don't know. I know that's being dramatic, but like, I mean, I can swim kinda, but I've never like jumped or fell in a pool. I probably would start panicking. So I can just imagine how one would feel, especially fully dressed with shoes on, being thrown in a pool. So I know, like Cher said, oh, mom, you're telling everybody you're still on it. I probably would still be on it too, because that was very traumatic. So I don't know, maybe we're all just being overly dramatic. I don't know, but that was hard to watch. And I really felt bad. I love Dawn and Cher so much. I think that they're really fun spirited people. And I get the bigger picture. I get that they just want to be friendly and liked and, just kind of treat everybody friendly. So when people are like ill will to them, it's just kind of like, no, it's like, why? They're so friendly.
Well, they are invited to the retirement party. And the thing is, Jared and Cher did this without telling Dawn. And the issue is, are they ready to face each other? And are they ready to put this behind them? Because we know that Dawn said in this episode, she's not ready to forgive her. She's not ready to move on. So there's also a pool at this party. So I'm just worried in general of how this is going to turn out, because it can go one of two ways. They can forgive each other and move on, or there can be another incident like the one, or even worse than the one that we've already seen. So, and that's the last thing we want. So fingers crossed things are going to go well, and no one will be thrown in a pool, or no drinks will be thrown at each other or anything like that. And hopefully they can move on and realize the bigger picture. Your grandkids and your kids are the most important thing in your lives. You have to just kind of move past all the other stuff. All right, guys, so let's talk about Angie and Shay. So we were watching a scene with Shay, and Shay needed a break from her parents. If you guys remember the last episode that Shay was on, her parents had her do a weigh-in, which she was not really interested in doing. A lot of people have an issue with the scale. I do as well. I feel like the scale is the enemy of progress. A number does not make you happy. The way you feel and the way you look makes you happy. So they bought a scale, had Shay get on the scale, and it really discouraged Shay from her weight loss journey. And she invited her friend Bridget over to have like some hot tub time. And Angie crashed hot tub time and was kind of in a reminiscent mood and wanted to talk about Chase. And during that process, she brought up Chase and used the he and him pronouns, which is very triggering for Shay, because it kind of catapults Shay back to a very difficult time in her life where she felt like she was being forced to be someone that she wasn't. And not just by society, but everyone, her family, everyone around her was kind of pushing her to be a certain person. And this situation kind of catapulted because the term mourning you came up. And Angie has said that she's mourning the loss of Chase. And Shay feels very hurt by that, because obviously Shay is still alive. And she doesn't want anyone to feel like they're burying any type of version of her, because she's always been this person. She's just now that person inside and out. So I really felt that this was a scene that had a lot of emotion, because Angie just feels like she doesn't know the right words and how to express herself the right way. Because she even said in the scene, I would never hurt you. I would never say anything or do anything to hurt you. You're literally my number one priority. I just feel like we're not understanding each other.
Two things with this story. First thing is that I see both sides of the story and, like, you know, where they're coming from. I think that the first thing that, she had went wrong was that instead of saying, and I don't know, I see, like, I do this a lot where I try to, like, tell people what they should have said, but I feel like if they would have said something differently, something so minor could have fixed the whole problem. So there's nothing wrong with reminiscing on the past. There's nothing wrong with saying, oh, so-and-so loves swimming. But if you know how Shay feels, I feel like you didn't have to say, oh, Chase loved the pool. Like, we could not get him out of it or whatever. And he, like, literally, she's right there. Like, right. I feel like she could have said when Shay was little, I could not get her out of the pool. Oh my God. And like, there's nothing wrong with reminiscing on the past, but changing it up a bit with the current person that you're talking about. So that way they don't feel like you're not respecting what they want said on their pronouns and everything. I do, however, understand where she's coming from a mother's point of view. She's not mourning the death of somebody. She's mourning the loss of the son that she gave birth to and embracing the daughter that she now has. So it's like you mourn the loss of the person that doesn't exist, but you gave birth to the person that you are now. So it's kind of like a reincarnation type of situation. It was just kind of how it's said. It sounds horrible because you can't mourn somebody that's alive. You're kind of saying like, oh, well, you're dead. And it's like, you're not. But that's not what she was trying to say. It was how it was said and how it was being perceived. She was just simply saying, you no longer are the person that you were born in this world as. You are now the person you were meant to be. Right. So no longer do I have Chase, the person who I gave birth to, but now I'm fortunate enough to have Shay, the beautiful daughter that I love. It's like the problem is that not the fact that she's in her feelings, because she has every right to be. It's that she is addressing them to Shay. And Shay was just like, I'm happier now. You should be happy that I'm happy and like not be upset. But it's like, I think that if this is something that is going to take time to heal, the mom, accepts the fact that, Shay is Shay, but she still was like, well, I remember all the good times I had when you were Chase. So I think maybe like there's nothing wrong with telling her feelings and how she feels, but maybe just not so in depth. Maybe save this for like your husband, your best friend, your journal. So that way, like today, I'm really missing, when I had a son, that way you're not making it feel like this person is any less, especially if they're just being themselves. You're making them feel like they don't matter without trying to. It's just happening. So I thought this was a really good piece. I'm actually glad that they touched bases on this, because in today's society, in today's world, it's very hard and people have to be educated, because growing up, this generation of like the older generation, this is all new. It's a new world. And I think that it's good that they put this stuff on TV to educate people, to say, hey, not everybody is black and blue, black and white, yellow, green, whatever. It's like, you could be this, you could be that, you could be this, you could be that. And it kind of tells you from other people's point of view and other people's stories. So I like to applaud TLC for educating the world that not everybody is the same.
I think that what I got from this the most is this transition for Shay affects everyone in the house. And I feel that it's a learning process for everyone. And Angie is in a learning process. Shay is also in a learning process. And the emotional process of this change is really shown in this scene. And a lot of people think, oh, well, I accept this person, I understand. But you don't understand the emotional change and transition that you're taking. Even if it's your child who's making this transition, you are also going through an emotional transition. So like you said, this was a really good educational piece for people who might be going through this situation, who don't really understand what they feel and how to express it. All right, guys, that's it for part 2. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. This has been the Smothered Season 4, Episode 8 podcast. We will talk to you all really soon.
Bye.